dating women helped me understand men. And it is not that difficult to understand men, but to actually date other women and understand men like that makes me wonder what kind of perspective are we getting from this video. So I am pretty interested, so let's go and check it out.
Dating women didn't just help me to understand women, it also helped me to understand men. Being a bisexual woman has given me a lot of insight into modern dating and relationships, and in this video I'm going to share some of my experiences. So let's get started. The first thing that I realized is that women communicate indirectly, and it is genuinely hard to navigate. What I learned is that women...
That is so true. Like, as a woman myself, I do completely understand what she means here. Women don't really simply say what they want or what they need. They go around it in a difficult way for men to understand because they are more simple when it comes to communication. Like, they're definitely direct, like do this, do that. But with women, it is completely different. And then to actually expect men whose brain doesn't work the same way to actually understand everything and read between the lines, yeah, that is very difficult.
Even the most therapized, best communicators among us rarely say what it is that they actually need. They communicate indirectly, and they rely on that level of indirect communication. It's something that we do with other women, and so it's kind of the way that we operate, and then we expect the people that we are dating to understand our hints, our tone, our nonverbal communication, our energy shifts, and our subtle cues. So when I was with women, I often felt the same kind of confusion that many of my male clients report, like I'm doing what she asked for, but somehow it's still wrong. I don't understand why it's wrong. And I'll give you an example, not someone that I was dating, but a female friend of mine actually ended a friendship with me because even though I was doing the things that she requested, she said that it wasn't actually what she wanted. And she didn't want to be in a friend, platonic relationship with someone who couldn't understand how to be there.
Imagine actually making it so difficult for yourself and others to befriend you. Not date you, befriend you.
For her in the way that she needed, even though I was doing what she said she needed. It was really painful. Anyway, the moral of the story is that men are not clueless. The instructions are confusing. All right, Second thing that I realized is that the masculine frame is not at all theoretical. It's real and it feels like pressure. So women often say that they want their partner to hold the masculine frame, right? To be the wall that the wave crashes against, the thing that contains the storm. And being with a woman showed me what it feels like to feel like you have to stay grounded, like you have to lead, like you have to know what to do, like you have to be the calm. My inner experience as someone who mostly identifies as very feminine is that it was kind of scary because what if I don't know what to do? What if I can't hold it all together while she's...
And that is the thing. A lot of men can't and don't know how to navigate through it, but they have to perform and they keep everything inside. They will be there, they will be the wall, they somehow are gonna do it. But they're at the end of the day survivors. It was very difficult for them. It wasn't an easy job as you might have thought. They went through the struggle. And of course, then the aftermath is all on them. They have to keep it in. They have to deal by themselves with it. They have to deal with it by themselves. And that is very difficult. That's creates a lot of internal issues for them.
Falling apart. What if I want to fall apart? What if I don't want to be the wall, but I want to be the storm, okay? It helped me to realize that men are not weak. They've just been given an impossible job that doesn't come with any sort of instruction manual, and they're supposed to act all the time like they know exactly what they're doing. Brings me to realization number 3.
And actually, before we go to realization number 3, God forbid a man says, I don't know what to do to a woman.
They expect their partners to know what they're doing. Brings me to realization number 3. Women expect their partners to know what's going on and take care of them, and those expectations can be tremendous. Being with women taught me the intensity of that sort of double expectation. Know what I need intuitively and help me to emotionally regulate even when I don't know what I need. We often think about women as the caretakers in relationship, and that's fair. For the most part, women are conditioned to caretake, but we don't give men the credit that they deserve for the caretaking that they do. And I'm saying this also as a partner, as a female partner. I can realize now that I've put my male partners in this situation where I want them to know what's going up with me and take care of me all at the same time. And this can make men feel like they can never get it right because they're supposed to know everything and hold everything simultaneously. Which brings me to the fourth realization that I had. Female arousal is complex. The first time that I was face to face with a vulva, even though I very much wanted to be there and had been trying to figure out how to have sex and get into a sexual situation with a woman for a long time, I felt a tremendous amount of pressure. And this is like, I have this body. I know.
Yeah.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, you should
be.
Was I
professional at that point? Yeah, I was a professional. I was a professional educator at that point. I understood everything I needed to understand in order to succeed, and I was still a little panicked. Because women's arousal is contextual. Women's bodies are sensitive. They do change day to day and week to week. There's a lot going on, and they often need a tremendous amount of presence and slowness and nuance, and it can feel like staring at a vulva is more like trying to crack a safe than it is.
But also, in my opinion, it is up to the woman to teach and guide in these situations. It doesn't mean that the man doesn't know what he's doing, but it means that you are helping him pave the way and make him learn around your body, because every person is different. There is not, especially if it is a partner and you have been with them for a while, eventually they're going to be learning. So you better teach them early unless you don't want to be satisfied. You know what I mean?
To like figure out how to put together is like sexy puzzle. What I understood about men then is that they're not rushing or being clumsy in bed because they're insensitive. They're anxious and they're just trying not to fail. And that is a pretty intense frame to hold. Which brings me to number 5. Feminine chaos is real and it is not easy to hold. I once had a moment where I was helping this woman to prepare for a trip, and I walked into her apartment and I saw that her suitcase was in the middle of the floor, totally empty, and then everything was just completely strewn about everywhere. There was stuff everywhere, and I just remember thinking, oh my God, this is feminine chaos. I've been that woman before.
Yep.
I've been overwhelmed and dysregulated and impossible to support and just completely.
I don't understand what she means. Every time before I go out and I'm late, that's how it looks like. What do you mean? What do you mean? That's like only when you're traveling? Interesting.
Really lost inside of the chaos of it all, thrashing around and just like making it worse as I'm going, and expected a male partner to sort of like help me contain myself and be the person to hold me while I got it all together. And when men don't want to do that, when they turn away, when they don't feel confident that they're capable of doing that, that's not them being cold. That is them being overrun by a swirl of emotion and intensity as it's coming up at them. We just have sort of different ways of being with that overwhelm. Realization number 6.
Oh, that's the worst. Like, poor men in this situation, but also poor women, because they need the men and the men are overwhelmed, so we cannot really blame them. So this is really tough. That's a tough one.
And then have sort of different ways of being with that overwhelm. Realization number 6, women have an enormous capacity for grace, but it's often conditioned and not fully authentic. What I mean by this is that women often are quick to forgive and soften and make space, make peace, and move on. But sometimes that is coming from their conditioning and it's not their truth. We don't want to blame women for this because this is how they are raised and the expectations that are made of them. But then they end up being resentful because they're not actually feeling that way. They don't actually want to forgive and move on, or they don't actually feel great about whatever just happened, but they've been taught that they need to just like make peace and then let that fester inside of them. And that leads to women not being clear. That leads to us not being honest about our limits. That leads to us sometimes forgiving before we're actually ready to, in order just to keep the peace. And so of course men are going to be confused because they might feel like the rules are changing moment to moment.
Like didn't you like forgive me about that? Why are you mentioning it 7 days from now, 1 month from now? I thought we passed it. But in reality, you just pass the argument, and you say, I forgive you, just to like move on because it was too overwhelming, but it still was bothering you. So communication is the key in this situation. You have to ask what exactly is bothering you, like dissect it as if you are a surgeon and find the exact root of it, and then communicate about that specific thing, because maybe some matters were not really resolved, and that is what has been left and festering. So I think communication is the key in this regard. Like, you should not be blaming someone for not caring or just keep reminding them about some mistakes they made. That's the worst you can do to a man. Like, if you forgave them, they literally think you forgave and you move on. But if you keep mentioning it, that really bothers them.
Already made up about this, but you're still, I feel like the rules are changing moment to moment. Like, we already made up about this, but you're still angry about it. It is a beautiful thing that a lot of women have space in their hearts to forgive and like move on quickly, but only when it is true. Which brings me to realization number 7. Dating women made me feel protective of men. I saw how impossible the expectations for men can be and how much they get blamed for that stuff when they don't get it right. Dating women made me want to help boys become men. Many of the myths and things that we believe culturally about men, both men and women, are untrue. Like, men aren't emotionally unavailable. Sometimes they're just overwhelmed. Men aren't necessarily bad communicators. They're just working with mixed signals. They're not necessarily weak. They're carrying so much silently. And this is why I have created an entire half-day summit just...
We come to the part where we are selling some program. You don't have to buy this. You don't have to go into programs and buy it. I don't know, like, everything she said is actually really helpful. So it might be a really good summit for men. But I genuinely think that not one person or one guide belongs to everyone or can be applied to every single individual equally. We are all different. Even men are different. Yeah, on a like maybe superficial level we are all the same, but when it comes to the superficial level, you really don't need to go into a summit or something to learn it. Like, this is so easy to just educate yourself, maybe talk with other men and women alike, and communication is the key, and just try to figure out who you are and go from there.
To support men in learning these systems so that they can show up clearly and confidently in the way that they want to. Men don't have a sex problem, they have a system problem, a relational problem, a pressure problem. And that is why I built this completely free summit so that men can come and learn about the best ways,
I love free stuff.
tips, techniques, and tactics for dealing with the romantic and sexual and erotic relationships that they hold dear. Whether you're in a long-term relationship or single and looking to start a relationship, you need the tools and the tactics that you were just not given and are expected to somehow, I don't know, pull from the ether and automatically understand. Sign up, register for the summit January 17th. It will be recorded. Give me your email address. I'll make sure that you get it. I just want you to have everything that you need that I can give you after 10 years of working with men in this capacity to help you to have the best relationships and the best sex of your life, because that is what you truly deserve. I will see you there on January.
I don't think there is a guide for the best sex in life. Because the more you give them information, the more they're going to be in their brains instead of performing, and then everything is going to be chaos. Imagine he's like, okay, Caitlin told me to do this first. Oh no. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one. Bye.